Yo, what is up guys and welcome to another Wild Rift video. The patch notes for the new patch 4.0a have just been released by Wild Rift. Well, they've been leaked by Wild Rift, right? Because this is their new way of kind of pre-releasing the patch notes. So I'm gonna go through them with you guys and talk about it. This is my first time seeing it as well because I didn't get the patch notes. So let's take a look at it. First of all, we got Akshan. Going rogue cooldown, which is his second ability, is going down. Look at how much is going down. What? Look at late game. 2 seconds? His second ability is on a 2-second cooldown in the late game. Really? They really thought that's a good idea? Isn't that broken? I mean, if you think about it, if Akshan has a 2-second cooldown on a second ability, he becomes invisible. It does have a long range, so you do have to be far away from the enemy. But like, if you're running away from enemies, you can just use your third ability to dash away, and then instantly cast your second ability and become invisible. And also, new gain 2% missing mana regen per second when chasing scoundrels. Oh, I love that. Oh, that is such a nice change because oh, that's so good. Like, if you have super low mana, but you're chasing a scoundrel, you're gonna get the 2%. And 2% is a lot every second. So you're getting, like, in 2 seconds, basically, you're gonna be able to cast any ability. So if you're chasing a scoundrel, you're easily gonna be able to catch up and kill that champion. Really, really nice change. But I actually feel like this is gonna make Akshan, like, really strong in the late game, as if he's not already strong enough. Like a 2-second cooldown. I mean, even in the early game, from 18 to 14 seconds, that's already quite a substantial buff for him. Like, having that up every 14 seconds very early on in the game is already pretty nice. And I actually feel like it may be playable now to upgrade his second ability second now. Not first, because you do want the damage, but actually fully upgrading his second ability second now. You know, because you're going to be invisible all the time. You're literally going to be invisible all the time. It's absolutely crazy, actually. All right, Blitzcrank. Second ability, overdrive movement speed after the first acceleration decay. Wait, overdrive movement speed after the first acceleration decay from 10% to 25%? What does that mean? Overdrive movement speed after the first acceleration decay. What the, how is, these are the buffs by the way, but how is this a buff? Overdrive movement speed after the first acceleration. I'm honestly not sure what this means. I really don't know. It goes from 10% to 25, and the second one goes from 25 to 50%. Does it mean that he's gonna be faster? Not sure what this means. Let's move on. Ekko. Oh. Oh, his passive does more damage to jungle camps. From 110% to 140. Ekko jungle is already good. Why are they making it even better? Like, Ekko jungle is gonna have a really, like, a much faster jungle clear because of this. He's especially gonna be able to clear the big jungle camps much faster with this. He will just do so much more damage to the jungle camps with his passive. Honestly, this is kind of crazy. Like, honestly, this is kind of crazy. Like, he was already an top A tier jungler, I would say, or like low S tier. This definitely makes him S tier. I mean, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. It's fine to have Ekko as an S tier jungler. All right, Kayn. Wait, Kayn is getting buffed? I feel like Kayn is already pretty strong, especially the red Kayn. I'm expecting them to buff the blue Kayn. So let's take a look. The Darkened Scythe Assassin, the Darkened Scythe Shadow Assassin passive reset time from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. Is that, honestly, I'm not very familiar with the passive of the blue Kayn. Sounds good. I think it's like bonus. I don't know. I'm not gonna try to pretend that I know. The Darkened Scythe, a Shadow Assassin passive bonus damage goes up by a lot. So they're giving much more damage to the Shadow, to the Assassin one, the blue one, and they're reducing the cooldown of the damage. So they make him a faster assassin as well. Like, he can assassinate people more quickly. The Darkened Scythe increased the quantity of charges that Shadow Assassin receives when it's gonna be easier to stack up the blue charges as well. Like, now when you're damaging ranged champions, you're gonna be getting the stacks from the blue Kayn faster than before. Really nice. Third ability, Shadow Step Assassin cooldown. Oh, really? 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 This was not necessary. His third ability was already kind of overpowered with the shadow one when you went for blue Kayn. He could go through walls all the time. And now the cooldown is gonna be even lower from 8 seconds to 7 seconds. And keep in mind, when you go into a wall, the cooldown already starts counting, I believe. So like when you get out of the wall, the cooldown is only gonna be like 2 seconds, depending on how long you've been into the wall. That's actually crazy. Umbral Trespass, Shadow Assassin range increased slightly. So they increased the range of the ultimate of the Shadow one slightly. This makes sense. Like, Red Kayn is already incredibly powerful, but Blue Kayn felt a little bit underwhelming. This change feels the best one, feels like the strongest one. You know, the second one, the Dark Passive, gets more bonus damage. Like going from 14 to 42 to 32 up to 46 sounds like a very big deal. However, keep in mind, you're only unlocking the blue or the red Kayn when you're like level 7, 8 or something. Like, it's not like the early game matters that much. Keep that in mind. All right, which champion is here? Lucian. His first ability, Piercing Light base damage, is going to be increased in the early game. Actually pretty sick. This buff is actually bigger than you think, because his first ability is a very obnoxious lane bully ability. Does a lot of damage, and flat damage buff, you know, the 15 damage buff, is you're gonna feel it as a Lucian. Like, you're gonna be able to do much more poking in your lane and bully the enemy. Let's push this up. Now let's go to the nerfs. Aatrox makes a lot of sense. His ultimate World Ender increased healing goes from 30, 45, 60 to 25, 35, 45. Massive nerf. But he's still gonna be okay. But, like, honestly, he deserves it. How stupid is it if a champion gets 60% vampirism? 60%. Like, even if you get anti-healing, it literally doesn't matter. It just, you ignite him, but he still heals 30%. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, I feel like this makes him balanced, because he's still gonna have lots of healing. 45% is a lot, obviously. But at least now it may feel like you're doing something when you're applying anti-healing, because then he's only gonna have 22.5% healing. Alright. Nautilus. His first ability cooldown is going up. Okay. Okay, you know what? Okay. And his base damage is going down. Alright, so his level 1 is gonna be a little bit weaker now as well. Especially his level 1, actually. Like, the cooldown reduction nerf and the base damage nerf really hit him at lower levels. So, it's not going to be as strong of a level 1 champion and just early game champion anymore. Rakan. Grand Entrance base damage, his second ability is getting a small nerf. Yet again, this is all early game, the nerf they're giving it, really. Because late game, 10 damage flat really doesn't matter much. But early game, it matters a lot. Like, matters a lot. His third ability cooldown gets increased. Wow. Big nerf to Rakan, actually. He will still have his all-inning power in the late game, like his all-in damage, but he's just not going to be able to provide as much utility to his team because of his third ability. And his early game is going to be weaker. So that's the thing about Rakan. He's still going to be like a really good all-in damage type of support champion in the late game. Yone, yeah, makes sense. Yone is getting nerfed. Second ability, Spirit Cleave, minimum damage to minions, goes up early game and down late game. So he's gonna have less wave clear in the late game. Doesn't matter that much. This first ability still does a lot of damage, but it's fine. Spirit Cleave damage cap to monsters, so jungle monsters, is going down too. So he's gonna do less damage to jungle monsters. And then Spirit Cleave base shielding goes from 40 plus 70% attack damage to 30 plus 70% attack damage. Yet again, an early game nerf. You won't feel this nerf on enemy champions in the late game, but in the early game, you're gonna feel it quite a lot. Like, his shield is really gonna be small in the early game. Makes sense. Alright. Item buffs. Alright, I'm seeing Awakened Soulstealer. That sounds very exciting to me, because this item, like, I've always loved this item, but it has never been a good item. So I'm really glad to see them buffing it yet again. Unique passive cooldown, refund on kill, from 20% to 25%. So your abilities are gonna be refunded 25% of the remaining cooldown. I'm not sure, is it the remaining cooldown or the total cooldown? I think it's the remaining cooldown, but yeah, from 20 to 25, it's actually quite a substantial buff. I still think no one is gonna build the item. I only think people are gonna build this item if it goes to like 30 or 35% or something like that. I just don't think people, you know what it is. Other items are just way too good. Like, other items are just way too good. It's like, if they give small buffs to items like Awakened Soulstealer, which is a very niche item already, it's just never going to be built. Same story with Horizon's Focus. I mean, what are they doing to it? Unique passive damage goes from 80 plus 20% ability power to 90 plus 25% ability power. That's a big buff, but it probably doesn't matter because it's just a stupid item. People just don't build this item. Like, you have to get 3 stacks to deal damage, you have to slow the enemy or CC the enemy, whatever. I mean, you could much rather just go for a Rabadon's Death Cap, Infinity Orb, you know, the Green Book and stuff like that. That's just the problem I see with these items. Luden's Echo. Surely Luden's Echo is getting nerfed, right? Unique passive lightning damage. Luden's Echo is getting buffed. What? From 80 plus 20% ability power to 90 plus 25% ability power. So not only is it getting buffed early game, it's also getting a big buff late game. The poking is going to be much bigger now. I don't know why. Luden's Echo is the type of item that works on like a lot of champions. Really not sure why they're buffing it. It's already a very, very strong item. I mean, of course, their statistics may give win rates for certain items, but Luden's Echo is weird. No, I don't think Luden's Echo should have gotten buffed, honestly. Let's take a look at champion adjustments. Let's put it up like this. Ashe. First ability, Ranger's Focus base attack speed is going to be increased in the late game. She's going to get more attack speed in the late game. But then her her second ability gets a 2-second nerf. How the hell was this an adjustment? This is a massive nerf. Like, that attack speed really doesn't matter too much. I get what they're trying to say though, because Ashe is supposed to be like a really strong single target slowing carry. So they're giving her more attack speed so enemies cannot run away from her and she can chunk down one target. But because a lot of people are just poking with the second ability. And of course, the support Ashe is going to be killed with this as well. Like, support Ashe was really built around hitting that second ability all the time. And now that the cooldown is up 2 seconds, I really don't think you can play that anymore. However, this unlocks new builds for Ashe where you go for like Blade Rune King and stuff like that and just focus on one target only. Interesting. Lux. Her Prismatic Barrier Shield, her second ability, goes from 40, 70, 100, 130 plus 15% ability power to 40, 75, 110, 145 plus 10% ability power. So a massive nerf to the shield of mid lane Lux and just a small nerf to support Lux. Just small because they are giving it a flat buff. Prismatic Barrier Return Shield is going down as well. Yet again, a flat buff, but from 30% ability power to 20% ability power. Massive nerf to mid lane Lux. Now our third ability, Singularity Damage, 60, 120, 180, 240, plus 60%. Oh, the same thing. They're buffing the flat damage, but they're nerfing the scaling. Overall, this is a nerf to Lux. Like, this is just a nerf to Lux. Support Lux is gonna be okay, because at the very least, Support Lux got some compensation for the flat damage, but this really hurts mid lane Lux. Like, really, really hurts mid lane Lux. Set. Base attack damage from 52 to 58. Okay. Gonna be much stronger level 1. Much stronger level 1. Like, this is a massive level 1 buff. But then his attack speed per level goes from 1.7 to 1.2. So that's a pretty big nerf late game. 0.5% attack speed times 15. It's like 7.5 attack speed less, which is quite a lot. Like, that's a lot of attack speed. Really, really a lot of attack speed in the late game that he's missing. So he's gonna be much stronger early game. Like, he's gonna be able to pretty much win any 1v1 in the early game, because 6 attack damage is like the old Brutal, remember? You just get a Brutal for free. It's crazy. Zoe. Spell Thief, second ability bug fixed an issue that prevented this ability from applying all hit effects. Okay, so that's, I guess, indirectly a buff. Spell Thief bonus movement speed goes up in the early game and down in the late game. Actually a buff, I would say, because from 65 to 60 is not necessarily a nerf, because 60% is still a lot of movement speed, but going from 35 to 45 in the early game is quite a substantial buff, because yeah, it will give you so much more movement speed early on. Spell Thief bonus movement speed duration, bonus movement sped. Look at this, nice typo. From it used to scale up from 2 seconds to 2.75, but now it's a flat 2.5. Big buff yet again, because you take this upgrade last. Like, you upgrade her second ability last. So the fact that it's getting buffed like this, where on the first level you're already getting 45% attack speed, movement speed, sorry, and it works for 2.5 seconds. Massive buff to Zoe, really, really massive buff. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video of me reviewing the patch notes. Give the video a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next HellsDevil video. Bye bye.